Tell you what, I mean, it's felt a frantic 3.5 years. I remember being in building mode, and a lot of the conversations we were having, I mean, obviously once we got the business model in place, then behind the scenes, while you're trying to attract the franchises, you're talking to players, you're talking to partners, you're trying to sell a dream. And I'll always be eternally grateful for those people that backed that dream back in the early days. I mean, after a couple of failed attempts in South African cricket, there was every reason that people didn't have to back us against all the competition that was taking place in the world. So, those players, those partners, and the 6 franchises that backed what we had a vision for, I'll never forget. And then building the team, being able to attract a really outstanding, SA20 central team, I think was key. And then my other massive highlight in that period was opening game at each stadium in the first season. I'll never ever forget those goosebump moments. Well, I mean, I think what we a couple of the big goals we've set up front, we were quite bold and ambitious in what we said. We owned what we wanted to be. We said we wanted to be the biggest league outside of the IPL. We wanted to be a number 1 sport and entertainment brand in South Africa, and I think we've lived those things. And I think 3 years in, the proof and the stats and what the feedback we're getting is that we've managed to achieve a lot of those goals. I think we've also seen the strength of the player group get better and better every year, even with the challenges of other leagues and future tour programs and that. I think we've seen the quality grow year on year. And we've seen this, South African talent come through, which is something that we wanted to do. 100 games in now, it's a nice checkpoint for us to say, like, all those big goals, all those big strategies that you had, how you doing? And I think a lot of them have been successful. Like this year in particular, I've felt season 3. I mean, the people who turned out in season 1, season 2 was just incredible. Like, seeing full stadiums, seeing people having a great time. But this year in particular, there's been a couple of things that have stood out for me, like the vendors around the stadium, like hugging you. I remember donut salesman in PE. He really went over the moon, about the tournament. People on planes, just loving the tournament. And, people that have traveled, but also I think the thing for me that has been amazing is the amount of people I've run into in the stadium that have come to cricket for the first time. And, growing the cricket audience, bringing that vibe and that hears back to the sport, I think for all of us involved in the event is something that means a lot to us. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very good question. I think, like, you've got to think about the things that you've done well and stay honest to those things, especially when there's opportunities to grow. You've got to think about, the things that you've done well and not move too far away from them. I think it's about doing the right things the right way again, and looking to improve the areas where maybe you haven't had a chance to get to. I think ticket pricing is very important. We want to be able to have a family of 4 come to at least 3 of the 5 games, to be able to interact with the product, love the product, become cricket fans. And then, our franchises have been amazing at the way that they've run their teams, looked after players, their competitive nature, the way that they've been able to attract the international talent. So all those player regulations and how we move into the future now is going to be important. Yeah, I mean, it's crucial to help you grow the event. I mean, like, all the stakeholders around us have played their part. I mean, the broadcasters, both locally and globally. I mean, SuperSport helped us with the business model and putting that initial broadcast deal in place that helped us attract this opportunity. And then around the world, from Geo Viacom to Sky and many, many others. I think all the activations that our partners have done, I mean, the Betway Catch 2 million, all the stuff that's come from that, I mean, it's been one of the great fan activations globally. And then all our other partners, how they've created opportunities around the stadium, both in broadcast and in the stadium, for our fans to interact with, the opportunity to earn instant money, to have great kids experiences. It's very rare. And so, when you talk to people that have come to our stadium, I mean, they all talk about the 360 experience that they've had, and our partners play a big role in that. Yeah, I mean, from a cricket perspective, we always want to see close games. I think, seeing Faf get the first 100, the Fifers, seeing the young South African talent come through and perform on the big stage, the conversations you hear from them. I think also what's underestimated outside the cricket is our content teams are unbelievable. The content that gets produced is some of my highlights through the season. But we've seen some outstanding cricketers on our shore. That's something, I truly believe we're building the biggest event in South Africa on an annual basis. I think the other thing we need to talk about is the impact on the economy. Bringing both years over 4 billion rand to the economy, creating 8,500 jobs. These are just great things for South Africa, and to have played a small role in that, I think, is outstanding.